There is a specific kind of silence that settles into your bones when you turn 50. It is not the peaceful quiet of a library or the stillness of a forest at dawn. It is a heavy, persistent hum. It is that moment in the morning when you sit on the edge of your bed, your feet hovering just inches above the floor, and you realize that your body feels like a house that has been stood in for a long time, where the pipes rattle and the floorboards creak under the weight of years. You look in the mirror and you see a stranger staring back, someone whose eyes are tired from decades of chasing deadlines, raising children, and worrying about the future. You feel the slow erosion of your own vitality, a quiet theft that leaves you wondering if your best days are truly tucked away in a dusty box labeled the past. I remember that feeling vividly. I remember the way the stairs suddenly seemed steeper and the reflection in the glass felt like an insult. If you are watching this, you know exactly what I am talking about. You have felt that shift, that subtle decline where the energy you used to take for granted has evaporated into thin air. But what if I told you that the decline is not inevitable? What if I told you that the biological clock ticking in your chest is not a countdown to decay, but a mechanism that can be recalibrated? I did not find the answer in a miracle pill or an expensive clinic. I found it in 5 simple rituals, quiet shifts in my daily life that eventually reversed my biological age. Before we peel back the layers of this transformation, consider this. What would you do if your energy returned tomorrow? Let me know in the comments below if you are ready to reclaim your second act. The first ritual arrived on a Tuesday, born of pure desperation. It was the ritual of the morning light. For years, I had been a creature of the shadows, waking to artificial glow, rushing into the day before the sun had even cleared the horizon. We often forget that our internal chemistry is tethered to the rotation of the planet. When I began to step outside within 10 minutes of waking, regardless of the clouds or the chill, I felt a strange, cold clarity ripple through my mind. There is a precise frequency of light that hits the retina at dawn, a signal that tells every cell in your body to wake up. Within 3 weeks, the chronic mental fog that had clouded my thinking began to lift. It was not a violent change, but a slow, steady sharpening of the senses. I started to notice things again. I noticed the specific shade of gold the light took on as it filtered through the oak tree in my yard. I noticed that I no longer needed that third cup of coffee to function. By aligning my biology with the natural world, I had stopped fighting against my own design. It was the first step in a long process of returning to my own skin. If the morning light was the spark, the second ritual became the foundation of my physical endurance. It is the deep reset. We live in an age of constant motion, where we measure our worth by how many tasks we can juggle. At 50, this is a recipe for internal burnout. I started dedicating 20 minutes a day to this practice. It is simply sitting, completely upright, eyes closed, focus directed entirely on the sensation of air moving through the nostrils. You might think this is trivial, but when you hit 50, your nervous system is likely stuck in a permanent state of high alert. You are constantly responding to stimuli, emails, family demands, the ticking clock of your own mortality. By forcing this stillness, I began to see the patterns of my stress. I could feel the tension in my shoulders and consciously release it. I could feel my heart rate slowing down, not because a machine told me it was slow, but because my body stopped anticipating a threat. This ritual became a sanctuary, a place where I could retreat to keep the internal fires of inflammation from burning too hot. It is a strange thing to realize that doing nothing is the most productive thing you can do for your longevity. The third ritual was the most difficult to implement, yet it yielded the most undeniable results. It involved the timing of my nourishment. For most of my life, I treated food as a comfort, something to be consumed whenever the mood struck or the clock hit a certain hour. But the body at 50 does not process fuel the same way it did at 20. It is less forgiving of excess. I started restricting my intake to an 8-hour window, closing the kitchen doors entirely after 6 in the evening. The shift was profound. By giving my digestive system a prolonged period of rest, I allowed my cells to perform their own maintenance. It is a biological process called autophagy, a sort of cellular house cleaning where the body clears out the damaged components that lead to aging. I felt lighter. The constant bloating vanished. The sluggishness I associated with afternoon hours simply disappeared. It was as if I had suddenly removed a heavy winter coat that I did not even know I was wearing. The clarity of thought that accompanied this cycle was enough to convince me that I had been starving myself of health while stuffing myself with food. The fourth ritual is one that most people overlook, often dismissing it as too simple to matter. It is the practice of intentional movement, but not the kind that leaves you gasping for air in a gym. It is the ritual of the morning walk, but with a specific cadence. I found that by walking at a pace where I could talk but not sing, I was engaging my cardiovascular system in a way that protected my joints rather than grinding them down. I made it a point to change my route every single day. The brain requires novelty to stay young. When you walk the same path, your mind goes to sleep, your steps become automatic, and your brain slows its creation of new neural pathways. By choosing a new street, a new park, or a hidden alleyway, I was forcing my brain to map the terrain, to stay present, to engage with the world. This is the essence of biological reversal, keeping the brain as curious and as pliable as it was when you were a child. I started to find joy in the architecture of my own neighborhood, in the way the shadows fell on the bricks, in the unexpected greeting from a neighbor I had ignored for years. Finally, the fifth ritual is the cornerstone of emotional intelligence. It is the practice of the evening review. Before I close my eyes, I write down 3 things that I did well that day and 1 thing that I could have handled with more grace. This is not a journal of regrets. It is a tool for self-correction. At 50, we are often burdened by the weight of our past failures and the habits we have built over decades. By systematically reviewing my actions, I began to dismantle the reactive patterns that caused me the most pain. If I lost my temper, I looked at why. If I felt anxious, I traced the root. This constant, gentle supervision of my own thoughts allowed me to shed the emotional baggage that keeps many people aged and bitter long before their time. When you are no longer a slave to your own unconscious reactions, you stop aging from the inside out. The lines on your face are often just records of your persistent worries. When the worries vanish, the face softens and the vitality returns. I look at those 5 rituals now: the morning light, the deep reset, the window of nourishment, the intentional movement, and the evening review. And I see not just a routine, but a philosophy. They are small, quiet, and entirely within your control. You do not need to move to a mountain retreat or change your entire life overnight. You simply need to begin. You need to acknowledge that your body is a reflection of your daily choices and that you have the power to influence that reflection every single morning. I recall a moment, just a few months into these rituals, when I was climbing a flight of stairs to catch a train. I reached the top without a single hitch in my breath. I stopped, looked down at the platform, and realized that the heaviness was gone. The stranger in the mirror had finally become a friend. I felt a surge of gratitude that was so sharp, so clear, that it nearly brought me to tears. It was the feeling of having my life back, of being fully present in a body that was once again capable of carrying me toward whatever adventure I chose to pursue. You might be wondering if it is too late, if the years have already carved their mark too deeply into your foundation. But biological age is not a fixed destiny. It is a fluid, changing thing, shaped by the environments we build for ourselves. Every day is a new opportunity to send a different signal to your cells, to tell them that you are not done, that you are still growing, that you are still becoming. The rituals I have shared are not a destination. They are a path. They are a way of walking through the world that honors the wisdom you have already gained while preserving the health you need to enjoy it. If you have felt that same hum of weariness, that same suspicion that you are fading away, I invite you to test these rituals for just 1 week. You do not have to believe me. You only have to believe in the possibility of your own improvement. Start with the light. Start with the stillness. Start with the simple act of choosing what you feed your body and your mind. The journey toward a younger, more vibrant version of yourself is paved with these small, consistent actions. It is not found in the grand gestures or the expensive interventions. It is found in the quiet moments between the ticking of the clock. It is found in how you greet the sun, how you silence the noise of the world, how you nourish your cells, how you explore your surroundings, and how you hold yourself accountable for your own happiness. You have a second act waiting for you, one that is not defined by the limitations of your age, but by the depth of your awareness. The world needs people who have survived the storms and come out the other side with their eyes wide open. People who understand that age is not a decline, but a refinement. You are the architect of your own longevity. You have the tools and you have the time. The only thing left to decide is whether you will use them. If this story has resonated with you, if you feel that spark of curiosity beginning to glow, I want you to do something meaningful today. I want you to commit to just one of these rituals. Pick the one that felt the most daunting, the one that seemed to challenge your current comfort zone, and start there. Share your progress with this community. We are all walking this path together, learning how to live our best lives in this beautiful, complex, and rewarding second half. Subscribe to the channel to join a group of like-minded individuals who are redefining what it means to grow older with grace and power. Leave a comment below, telling me which ritual you are going to start tomorrow. Let us build a space where we can share our victories and hold each other accountable. Your experience might be the exact inspiration someone else needs to start their own journey of transformation. Remember, the biological age you see in the mirror is merely a suggestion, not a sentence. The true measure of your age is the depth of your curiosity and the strength of your commitment to yourself. Take the first step, embrace the silence, and watch as your life begins to change in ways you never thought possible. You are capable of so much more than you realize. Your best version is not behind you. It is waiting for you to call it forth. Walk into your day with the knowledge that you are changing one ritual at a time. The light is rising, the path is clear, and you are ready.